Brennan Bradford, mate, you've been working the
Hello, mate.
phones. You've been working the phones again, mate. You had a good yarn out this morning, mate. A lot's happening in Australian boxing and particularly around Tszyu, mate. What can you
Mm,
tell us?
it's been a big week. Well, it's been a big 10 days or so. But as it relates to this day and this news that's happening, yeah, Tszyu and Matt Rose flew from Sydney over to Las Vegas. They left Thursday night, 6 o'clock, and they're flying over to just put the finishing touches on the details and the contracts and all the specifics around this Errol Spence super fight with an announcement set to take place early Sunday morning, sort of 3 a.m. Sunday morning, Sydney time. Um, so it's all but done, and there's just a couple of the I suppose the little pieces that they've got to iron out, which we can probably get to if you want to. But that's where it stands. Tim and Matt, yeah, quietly jetted out of Sydney Thursday night, and a confirmation or sealing the deal is just sort of a matter of hours away.
Well, what's the main sticking point, mate? We've got the weight, I'm hearing.
The weight is the big thing that they're haggling over. So Tim actually wants to fight at 154 at super welterweight. Spence wants it middleweight, 160. And I actually spoke to Matt Rose not half an hour ago, and he genuinely did not know which way it was going to go. Tim adamant he wants it at 54 as close. I get the sense that maybe there'll be a catch weight, but yeah, Tim wants it at the lighter weight, and Spence actually wants it heavier. So this is the main one. There's a few other things as well, things like a rematch clause that they'll have to go through. But yeah, the weight is the big thing that they need to nut out over the next 24 hours.
You surprised, mate, that Tim would want this weight back at 54? He's spoken about, I guess, some minor issues about getting down there. He's had his last couple of fights at 157. But Spence has had some major issues making weight at welterweight as well and hasn't fought in 3 years. What's your read on that, mate?
Yeah, it's interesting. Just taking a glance at it, you would have thought that Spence would have wanted it sort of closer to 54, and Tim closer to middleweight, being naturally a bigger man. Um, Everything I hear suggests that Spence at 47 when he fought Crawford just struggled and burned himself out just to make the welterweight limit. So yeah, he's been probably looking at moving up for a while. 3 years out, it's a long time. So yeah, he'll be jumping the division, going straight up to middleweight if he gets his way. So we'll see which way this falls. But yeah, last I heard and sort of early suggestions are that they're both unwilling to budge on what they want. It's a big difference. I mean, might only sort of say like 6 pounds, but that is a huge difference when it comes to power, punch resistance, all sorts of things like cutting weight, taking the weight off, and what you come into the ring at. Um, yeah, very very interesting sort of 24 hours to play out, I think.
Mute. What's Matt
You're
said
on
in
mute.
terms of yes, on mute. What did Matt Rose have to say in terms of how he's going to get this to go in favour of his client, I guess Tim Tszyu? What sort of happens from here?
No, he was he's landed in when I spoke to him, he'd only just landed in Vegas about an hour or so, and I think he was on his way to meet Spencer's people. Yeah, so I don't know. He didn't sort of say how it would all play out. I don't know whether he knew or not, but um, yeah, it might be some tough negotiating over the next day or so, just to see where we land. But um, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I don't know. I don't sort of think Spence will be making any big changes to accommodate Tim Tszyu, and it sounds like Tim doesn't want to budge either.
There was talk about a world title eliminator as well. Where does that sort of fit? If this is happening at 54, if this happened at 60, where does that fit
Mm.
within the marketing, I guess, of this fight?
Yeah, so I suppose that's less to do with sort of the contract and more to do with talking to the governing bodies. But there's talk of either the WBO or the WBA, this being an eliminator for one of those titles at either super welterweight or middleweight. Now, yeah, the winner of this fight potentially is in a world title fight at the end of this year. That's basically what it boils down to, as it stands. Obviously, things can change daily, hourly in the sport, but from what I've been told, that's what they're aiming for. That's what No Limit is aiming for in putting this one together.
And then, mates, also talk of the venue here in Australia. We've got a few options here, mate. What are we talking? We're
Mm.
talking Sydney Allianz, Perth, Gold Coast, Kudos Bank Arena. What's
Yep.
looking the most likely, mate?
Yeah. So 3 cities, 4 venues. That'll be one of either Allianz, Kudos Bank in Sydney, Cbus on the Gold Coast, or RAC Arena in Perth. Cbus was the front runner for a long time. I think Sydney's come back into contention, come back into play. Um, so Allianz or Kudos, so both would be amazing. Allianz Stadium, the Sydney Football Stadium. That's where Chock and Greeny fought 20 years ago. Hasn't hosted a fight since, and Tim actually made his professional boxing debut just next door at the Sydney Cricket Ground, of all places, in a little function room up there. And if it's at Kudos Bank, that's sort of the place where he first tasted world title glory. It was the interim WBO, the win over Tony Harrison. So it's sort of either way, either one of those, it's full circle. But Cbus Super Stadium, that'd be pretty awesome up on the Gold Coast, especially midwinter. All of us in Sydney and anyone in Melbourne would be pretty keen to get up there as well. But and RSC Arena in Perth is a phenomenal place to watch fights. You're so close. Like it's a basketball arena, or it's a tennis court or a kind of arena. So there's no bad seat in the house. You're right on top of the action. It'll be awesome.
Mate, it's all happening with Tim Tszyu, mate. He's changed trainer and Jeff Fenech as well. What's the past couple of weeks been like there? What has Jeff had to say on this Spence fight, and how's he, I guess, looking to prepare Tim Tszyu?
Yeah, shocked everyone, didn't it? I think there were rumblings for a couple of weeks, but I think that the link up with Jeff Fenech was definitely a shock. Logistically, going to Miami for that long, there was a language barrier with Pedro Diaz. So I think logistically it sort of makes a lot of sense just to stay at home, save a whole lot of money too, to be fair. But I don't know whether too many people saw the Fenech link up coming quite the way it did, but it's going to be interesting. We've already seen sort of Jeff being able to take the lead on some of the media stuff. What Jeff Fenech says carries so much weight, and people want to hear what he says. In terms of boxing, in terms of Tim, in terms of everything. So in the build up to this fight, I think it's going to be pretty fun, to be honest with you. You got Jeff Fenech, so respected and also a little bit wild. I mean, what did Eddie Hearn tell me the other day? He loves Jeff Fenech, but he's absolutely bonkers. Which I got a call from Jeff about, unsurprisingly. But no, he's and I think Jeff knows what Tim's been through. He's known him since he was born, so inside, outside of the ring. They've known each other for a long time. I know Jeff's wife Susie and Tim's wife Alex are very close as well. So there's just sort of there's probably a bit of familiarity there. And then you sort of know what Jeff's going to bring in terms of training, just your high work rate. He's told Tim for the past 2 years how he thinks he can improve and adapt and what he can add. So it'll be interesting to see those elements added to his game over the next couple of months.
Yes, mate, almost fight week as well. Nikita Tszyu coming up next week. Nice little test for Nikita.
Yeah, we saw the first glimpse of Oscar Diaz. He did a bit of an open workout the other day at Bondi Boxing. He's actually quite slick. He's very good footwork, pretty skillful. Like he moves really well. He's almost like one of those American boxers. A little bit flashy at times, but he will be smaller. Like you can notice the difference in their build. I think it's probably the same with Nikita. With anyone he fights at that weight, he's going to be a much bigger man. But yeah, undefeated record, super confident. Oscar Diaz coming down. He was saying he's going to beat Nikita, then go on and beat Tim, doing the throat slitting stuff. Not interested in getting carried up in any other kind of stuff. He's just here to win, knock off Nikita's path, and he wants to take what Nikita's got, I suppose.
Mate, what about mate Liam Paro? What are you hearing on him, mate? I'm hearing a potential late June date for Liam Paro.
That's what I heard via Eddie Hearn via this very channel just a matter of days ago. So that's Paro, Queensland venue, late June. So it'll be interesting. We'll have a Paro fight, a Paro world title fight with a good undercard before the Tszyu Spence mega fight when roughly a month later. Yeah, so it'll be it's going to be a very busy couple of months, but exciting times for Paro. Get back to that world title level. I've heard whispers of the undercard, big heavyweight fight on that one to be announced.
What did you watch the fights on Wednesday, mate? What did you think of Matchroom's first official foray into Australian boxing?
Tell you what, I did a video the day before, I think, and I said this fight, Ben Hussein and Andrew Hunt's going to be fight of the night, and it might be fight of the year so far. It's definitely fight of the year in Australia. It was awesome, cracking fight. Sky Nicholson put on a clinic, showed her levels, man, and showed. I think she showed how good she can be at that weight too. Just dropping down, she looked much bigger, stronger, still super fast. Impressed by Sky. What else do we have? That wild 2-rounder between Jake Wiley and Miles Zalewski. That was almost like a 2026 Australian version of Hagler Hearns. The back and forth and the blokes getting dropped, and I thought Zalewski was going to win, and then they threw in the towel. Cracking fight. Yeah, that was a good night of fights. Need to see Teta Moana stepping up, of course. That's what you get out of that. Everyone wants to see a knockout, but want to see him step up an opponent. But good night of fights, mate. You were down there. What was it like?
Mate.
I didn't get the trip down. I got Eddie Hearn on the Zoom the other day and Frank Smith, but no, didn't get the trip down. But how was it?
No, it's pretty good. Great night of fights. Sky Nicholson might divide opinion due to her style, but she's very good at what she does. Very, very good at what she does. Tera Moana, needs to step it up, but everyone loves a KO. And then what else we had? That Jake Wiley fight was insane. A launch party on Tuesday night as well.
You're schmoozing, mate? Were you on the card? You have your best threads out?
Always work in the room, mate. Always work in the room. But no, it was a good week. Pros and cons. There was some ups and downs and the usual boxing dramas and politics. But no, it was good. I'm curious to see what they do next. Eddie said that perhaps a Tera Moana headliner, or also I don't know if you saw, he said Justice Hooney they might be bringing down Big Baby Miller down here, Miller.
Imagine
That'd
that,
be
eh? That'd be amazing. Like,
that'd be a cool little fight
Jarrell Miller,
on a Fox card.
yeah, was weeks away from fighting Anthony Joshua at Madison Square Garden,
Hmm.
uh, and 7 years later could be down in Brisbane fighting Justice Huni. Be
Yeah,
unreal.
but it'd be interesting.
But
But then
exciting.
you got No Limits run where they've had Tim Tszyu, Nikita, Liam Paro, Tszyu
Mm.
Spence, and then you could have Matchroom's run where they had Sky Nicholson, Tara Moana, Justice Huni, Jarrell Miller.
How good, eh?
It's a good little
It's a it's a good year, busy year,
synergy.
mate. Busy year.
So it's all happening, mate. Any other news in closing, mate? Any other news going on? What else you got on
What
the
other news
boil?
have we got on? What else is happening?
You've had
Um,
the Zoo feud the last couple of weeks. You've had Chalk
never
saying
had
they
a
should
reaction.
have a fight.
I've never had a reaction to one story like I've had with this one. Just people who don't talk boxing coming up and asking about, yeah, what's happening with the brothers, and is it real, and how bad is it, and just so many people just intrigued and interested and fascinated. People at work come up to me and ask, what's going on, and yeah, so it's been, look, at the end of the day, it's sad what's happening. I hope they get through it, but um, yeah, that's sort of been one of the stories of the last couple of weeks, I suppose. Yeah, interesting to see what other twists and turns it takes over the next few weeks. Obviously, um, Tim's legal proceedings with Glenn Jennings have been resolved. Tim put out a statement the other day, and then I had that confirmed as well from the other side that yeah they've settled, so that's all done. So hopefully that's the start of I guess mending or healing or whatever. But I think it is important to notice as well that Nikita's always said, and I've written this, but I don't know if people are reading this bit, but Nikita's always said there's no bad blood on his side. Like it's um, he was sort of in a position, and he I suppose gave his side or said his piece. But there's no bad blood on this side. But it's boxing, right? It ends in tears more often than not, and hopefully we get through this one.
Nice one, mate. Well, I will see you in Newcastle on Sunday, mate. Always appreciate
So
your time.
Sunday Arvo will be open workouts, and then we'll go to the football. Can't wait.
And then the pub.
And then the pub, of course.